Nationally, there are some programs I want to talk about as well, both energy and green. But I'm going to start with the National Energy Program that's most well known, which is the ENERGY STAR program. The U.S. EPA, or Environmental Protection Agency, is in charge of the ENERGY STAR program, and they have both a new homes program and an existing homes program called Home Performance with ENERGY STAR. Both of the information of both these programs can be found on www.energystar.gov. And so these are national programs and should be available in some format or some rebate or some mechanism in the area that you're in, no matter where you are in the country or in the protectorates of the United States and territories like Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, etc. Now I'm going to talk about some Kansas City regional programs that may or may not be applicable to you, the viewer of this online Green Homes seminar, because I'm not sure where you're located, but you may want to watch these, because even though these may not be perfectly applicable to your locale, the dynamics are the same. And there may be very similar programs, and how you take advantage of them, how you intermix them with all this other energy mortgage and ratings and audits and all, can be very much the same across the country. So, Kansas City Power and Light, which is the major utility in the Kansas City area, has a program that they'll help pay for the cost of the energy rating for a new home to see if it qualifies for ENERGY STAR by giving the energy rater, the certified energy rater, a $750 fee to pay for the cost of the rating. Plus, they will give an additional $800 to the builder as an incentive to build energy-efficient homes and residences. Now, whether it's a single-family home or an apartment or a condo, it doesn't matter. Any residential building will qualify. So, in the Kansas City area, if you want to become an energy rater, you can go out and find, a 10-unit apartment building being built, and you happen to mention to the builder, hey, would you like to make $800 a unit times 10, or $8 grand? It looks to me like your units might qualify as ENERGY STAR, so we could test them. And the builder says, absolutely, because now I can, if I get this ENERGY STAR designation, I can market my apartments or my homes or whatever as ENERGY STAR. But staying with the apartment scenario, you would get $750 times 10, or $7,500 to do the testing on these units, and the builder would get $800 times 10, or $8,000 as an incentive to make the apartments ENERGY STAR. Now, we see this as a great program to get a rating business started. Now, there's a couple things you do have to do an initial evaluation. So when I mentioned you see some apartment buildings going up, the reality is you really should start before the building breaks ground by making sure we're using a set of plans that the building will in fact qualify for ENERGY STAR. It is possible to catch a builder halfway through as long as they haven't enclosed the walls. If they're building a building that's sufficient enough to be ENERGY STAR, the main thing you have to do is test the building using what they call a thermal bypass and insulation inspection, which happens before the sheetrock or the drywall goes on. However, we highly recommend that you sit down as a rater / auditor with the builder prior to construction, using their plans, and make sure that what they intend to build will in essence qualify for the ENERGY STAR program, and make adjustments prior to construction rather than halfway through or at the end, which you can't do. We're getting into programmatic things here now, but this is a good program, and variations on the same theme are starting to pop up all over the country, where money is being paid toward audits or ratings to get builders or other developers to look at ENERGY STAR subdivisions or apartment buildings or homes or townhomes, etc., etc., etc. So this is a great program. Okay, another program that's been offered and is available through Kansas City Power and Light and Missouri Gas Energy, KCP&L and MGE, to the Kansas City region, is a combined rebate toward the cost of an energy audit and related energy improvements. Now, again, this may not be applicable if you're watching this video online to your particular area, but variations of this same theme are cropping up all over the United States, and so I'm just giving you this as a way to see that how this different utilities can team up to offer money and make energy audits and energy improvements happen. They require that the energy auditor be trained by a qualified facility and, in essence, be certified. They do not have to be BPI certified, but BPI certification, of course, is a nice thing. They require combustion testing. The homeowner must complete at least one recommended energy improvement. In other words, they have to do something that MGE and KCP&L consider to be a energy-saving improvement. They can't just simply put in a new thermostat and call it good. They need to either reduce their infiltration by 20% or add more insulation or something like that. They have the audit performed on their home. They get the improvements done based on the findings of the energy auditor. The auditor then comes back and verifies these improvements, and then the homeowner is then credited with a $600 credit on their KCP&L electric bill and another $600 credit on their MGE gas bill. So they get a total of $1,200 back on their energy bills. For some folks, this totally pays for their energy improvements and the cost of the audit. For other folks, it doesn't really cover it, but with the $1,200 combined to what they spend, plus they get federal tax credits on some of the things they do, plus sometimes they get state and regional or local incentives as well. So what you have to do is look at what all the different incentives are for what you're trying to do, and the best way to find out is to find a knowledgeable energy auditor or a knowledgeable home energy rater in your area and ask them to help you get this whole energy improvement package put together. They should be knowledgeable enough to know what incentives and rebates are available and get you a best possible deal put together. One thing I didn't mention is that there is such a thing as sampling for new buildings. If, for example, you go out and find a builder who wants to build a 200 apartment building, then they probably don't want to pay for your rating, especially if there isn't an incentive program there to pay you per unit times 200, because that's a significant number. But the EPA and ResNet have a sampling protocol that you can test maybe 1 out of every 7 after you've established the fact that the building and the units do in fact qualify as ENERGY STAR. So you're going to have to test a certain number of units in a row, 5 or 10 or whatever the EPA or your program calls for. But once you've established that you've consistently tested a number of units and they consistently show that they're ENERGY STAR, then you can start going into what they call a sampling protocol, so that you can give the builder of their developer of that project a price break for the testing, and they also then don't have to spend as much money for the whole the setting it up as far as testing fees, and yet they can still mark the entire building market it as ENERGY STAR. Now it just depends on the area as to how this will work, and you do have to always check with ResNet and with EPA and possibly with your local programs such as KCP&L to make sure that the sampling protocol will work before you try it, because you can't just automatically say that's going to be something you can offer without getting all the details first, so you don't stick your neck out too much. But this is another thing to incent builders and developers to build ENERGY STAR and to get you as a HERS rater some additional money for a building that otherwise wouldn't be ENERGY STAR, and it gives the builder or developer of the property a marketing advantage. So there's a lot of good things to come from this.